fresh out the oven.
What is cracking, everybody? It's MegapiemanPHD here, and welcome to another look at my map video, this time for CTF Kelly Alpha 7. Now, 7 is quite a bit of a different number than the last time I did a video of CTF Kelly, and the reason for that is because the contest this map is being made for TF2Maps.net's Pick It Up contest, only lasts a month. So I've got till May 11th to get this as good as I can before, the contest is over and I have to submit it. Now, the good news is the contest is focused on gameplay, so I don't have to worry about detailing. Bad news is I do have to get the gameplay done, which is why I've been trying to get the map out and tested and updated as much as possible, as quickly as possible. So there's been a lot of changes. Let's start at mid, since we are at mid. The biggest change for mid is that I have shrunken the width of it to try to make it a little bit less large. If you take a look over here, I've pushed this wall over a little bit. Before, this wall used to be like over here. Now it's been pushed over closer to this door, which makes this upper area a little bit shorter. And I moved this indoor path, which used to be like right here. The door would go straight to the stairs. I've now moved that over, which overall has made this area just a tad bit smaller. The reason why I did that is because a lot of people were kind of saying that the map felt more like a King of the Hill map than a CTF map because of how mid was so large and how it's designed. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. People seem to enjoy the map to a point, so I guess that's mainly important. The other changes to mid are, just this upper area in general. I've changed that around a crap ton to try to make routes work a little bit better than they did previously. Before, you had to go all the way over here, and then you could go up the stairs to get up here. Now you can go up the stairs straight from mid, get to mid from this path just immediately, like that, which should hopefully make trying to get across and get into the bases a little bit easier. So there's less upper space to work with, but you have more useful upper space. I did have to make some awkward changes with this spot so that you can get through this door. It does cover up some sightline or anything. Covers up this any sight lines that could be from this door going to the mid area, but it does open you up to being seen from up here, so I'll have to wait and see if that's going to be a problem. And I did change around just the general geometry at mid to try to make it more interesting. Previously, it was basically just a big flat square, and that wasn't all that interesting. I did have the big sphere statue thing in the middle of the middle area, in the middle of the plaza courtyard thing that this is supposed to be, but that was really it. So, added some height variant to it, which gives cover, gives more dynamic to mid, makes it more visually interesting with things that I have been able to do with the displacement work that I've done so far, and just makes it, less of just a square. And the square is boring. The two things you want to avoid, especially in mapping for Team Fortress 2, is box rooms and long hallways. Because they are boring, they are uninteresting, and they tend to just be players getting killed a lot. And that's about it. So, hopefully this feels less like a box and is just a more interesting area to be in, let alone play in. I also shrunk the bottom spike pillar plinth thing underneath the orb here for this statue so that you can see around it a little bit easier. Now, if you're up here in these windows, you can see all the way to the windows on the other side. But if you are in these windows, the reason why you be in those windows specifically is because you want to be there with how the routes have changed. There used to be a path that would go all the way across this way, but I've actually closed that off to push anybody who's going in the base from this side into this room, which is the upper room that is overlooking the intelligence room, or the flag room, so that people are saying that this room felt kind of out of place, because you could just go this way to go right past it. So now you kind of have to go through it if you are coming out of spawn. The spawns are still in the same area. I did get rid of the drop-down spawn because it was finicky. People kept getting stuck in it, and it just didn't seem to work all that great, so I just got rid of it. Anyway, if you spawn, you can go over here, and then if you want to get over to this spot, you have to go through that room, so the room is more in your face. If you're going into the base from this path, you have to go in that room, so you know that room is there. It's much less out of the way. If any room is now out of the way, it is this one, and this one isn't quite as important as the other one, because the other one leads to the flag room, and is one of the ways that you can use to deal with sentry guns and engineer nests that are built up in there. Other ways to deal with sentry guns and engineer nests that are built up in there is this path over here. Now, I've been playing around with this path quite a bit. I wanted to keep multiple openings to the flag room, because the idea that I have with the flag room is to give attacking teams options, or enough options that the defenders can't just turtle up and that's it. That's game. There's nothing you can do. I really, really want to avoid that. That's a big problem with capture the flag in this game, so I'm doing the best I can to try to avoid that, and First, I had a path over here that lets you outrange sentries, and then I changed things around a little bit visually, and now I've sort of, and then I got rid of, I used to have a path that would go out around here and show up over here. That path is gone, it's been gutted, and I combined them two together like this, so I'm hoping that this will provide good enough cover that attackers will be able to use it to get in here and attack any sentry guns that may be built up in this general section. Because if you do build a sentry gun up right here, right in the middle of the flag room, you can cover all the entrances, but the entrances are all not super small doorways, but small-ish doorways, which means there's plenty of cover to hide from the sentry gun. So you can just peek around the corner, fire off some shots, go back around the corner, especially if you're up here and using these windows. Now, I did get rid of a path this water path previously. You could go from the lower water section up into the flag room, grab the flag, and then back down to the water section. And I felt like that made it a little bit too quick for players to be able to get into the flag room, so I decided that I would just make this a drop-down exit instead. So you come in from one of the sides, grab the intel, drop down here, swim your way over around here, and take off that way. You can also, of course, go the other side, which, if you're going in to the base, you can go to the left. There's no reason to go over here if you're escaping the base, really, unless you want to go under this bridge. But I put a bit of a platform here instead of just a staircase going straight into the water, because a staircase going straight into the water, unless it's a water feature, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I did have a staircase water feature over in this area, but I changed it around to be ramps because they just seem to make more sense. And I would like to give a big thanks to Freya from tf2maps.net. She was able to help me out with figuring out how to make these flowing waterfalls actually look good. So I was able to get that working over here, as well as the waterfall coming down over here. And yes, the water is going down now, unlike previously where I had the water going uphill. I know that water doesn't go uphill, but I just thought it was funny, and it's a gameplay contest, not a detail contest, so I thought I would just leave it until later on, but it is later on, so I changed it. Also in the flag room, added this computer thing with some of these props from RD Asteroid. So instead of jumping out of this window and breaking your legs, you can jump out the window, hop off of this computer thing, and then land down here. Or if you're not careful, you can just jump out of the window and go straight into the water. A big problem that I'm having with this prop, though, is if you look at these reflections, it's got built-in skybox reflections of, I don't know what skybox that's supposed to be. RD Asteroid actually does not have a custom skybox. It uses, I want to say Granary skybox, but I may be wrong about that. It uses, and then it just covers it all up. So I don't know what skybox this is, Maybe it's something for RD Asteroid that never got finished, because a lot of that stuff never got finished. But anyway, it's like built into the texture. And I've used program like Crowbar. I've used GCFscape. I've used VTF Edit. I've decompiled and torn apart these props, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why it uses what image it uses, how in the world I can get rid of it so that it will use actual nearby cube maps for reflections of the area it is in instead of whatever this is. So I'm probably going to have to replace this at some point. I like the big wall panels because they're big wall panels. No, excuse me, because they're big wall panels and they fill up a lot of space and they look nice. But it doesn't look all that great with those weird reflections. I have no idea what's going on with that. This spot over here has pretty much stayed the same. I haven't done a whole lot over in this area outside of just making this wall curvier. I also made this nice curved wall over here, in which I really like it. I used Blade 64's curved displacement guide thing that they posted a long time ago for making curved ramps. I just applied what they did for that to these curves here, which is how I pretty much do curves, and it makes them all nice and smooth. I love smooth curves. I understand TF2 is an aged game at this point, but that doesn't mean you can't have smooth curves. Smooth those curves. Come on. It ain't that hard. Also, this changed a lot. When I got rid of the path that went this way, I also got rid of the path that went this way. So now there's only one escalator in the base area, and if you want to get upstairs, you will have to use it from down in this flag room. I've thought about maybe putting another way to get back upstairs. I don't know. I think by making you have to use the downstairs at least a little bit, gives defenders a bit more of a chance to defend the flag. So you can't just get in, grab the flag, and get out. And part of the reason why I got rid of this path over here is because you could get in, grab the flag, and then run out this way. And defenders or anybody who's coming out of spawn and is over here, they would hardly get a chance to do anything about it. You could maybe, if you're quick, snipe someone from up here, but that is about it. So, if you're taking this path to get out, you have to go a little bit closer to spawn. You have to go over here, or you can jump over this and go over here this way. And that's pretty much your only bet. So, you've got one main way to get out. One main safe way, I'll put, to get out. Unless you're an explosive jumping class, like a soldier. If you're a soldier, you can come in here, grab this rocket jump back up into these windows, and then get out however you want that way. Or if you can just go out this way, go up the escalator, and go out this way, or go out that way, or go out over here. Whichever way you want. So yeah, I also think this was a neat way of getting around the height difference going on between these two areas. I want these windows to stay as high as they are, so they have that height on the flag room. But trying to figure out how to get that height across with that. But I mean, previously it had staircase, flat, staircase. But now I've got like staircase, then you have to go around these railings, and you can go down there, so you got a little bit of cover. And this was just interesting, trying to get these stairs to work because it's flat on the backside, and I wanted it to be, I don't know. It's just, it looks nifty. I like it. I've also been playing around with the detailing here a little bit to try to get across the theme of Spytech Corporate by moving around lobbies and using these props from King of the Hill Precipice by Timber Ghost Paintball. I believe that's the name of that guy. Also got a nice portrait over here. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a lot. Health and ammo packs have been moved around all over the place. Used to have some over here. I moved those to this spot because they were kind of awkward over there. So I think for attackers, they have cover from defenders. For defenders, they're a little bit closer. I also moved an ammo pack, or the health pack. I put a health pack in here, and then I moved it over here. And then I moved it over there, so it's now over there. And to try to help get across the idea that I had for this map of it being the retro future TF2 Australia themed map, because if you Google TF2 Australia, you will get up images from the TF2 comic pages, which shows what cities in Australia in the TF2 universe look like, and due to the existence of Australia, everybody in Australia is super masculine and super smart. So they got this whole retro future thing going on. So I was trying to get that across a little bit more through visuals, which is why we have these fenced-off force fields. Previously, I was using chain link, but it was just too much chain link. I hated how much chain link fence it looked. So I'm using these Half-Life 2 force field textures along with some brushwork, and it works. It works. If I ever get to the point where I get like full-on detailing this map, maybe I'll try and see if I can find somebody to help me make some models for it, and we can make a nice modular fence that doesn't look like brushwork, but we'll see. I also took the subway trains that were over here and turned them into these hanging monorail things. It's like a hanging magnetic monorail or something. I don't know. It's a retro futuristic transportation is what's going on here. I think it looks kind of nifty, even though it's just made out of brushes. So yeah, I mean, we got that going on. We got that going on for us. Detailing-wise, I also changed around some of the detailing when it comes to the areas above this building, because people were telling me that mid felt a little bit claustrophobic, and part of what they were saying that could have made it feel like that is because of the buildings on both sides. Now, I didn't want to get rid of the buildings because I still want the building tunnel path, but my thought process was, okay, if instead of having it just go a flat wall straight up for a building, if instead I'd lower the ceiling a little bit, lower the floor, lower the ceiling for these upper areas, and open it up, instead of going straight up like that, it now goes up, then back, then up. And over here, it even more so. You go up, and then you go back, and then you go up just a little bit, which helps to open the areas up more and make it feel a lot less claustrophobic, at least is the theory. Whether or not, I haven't had anybody complain about it since I did that, so I think that visual design is actually working. Doing that visual design is also when I got on a tangent working on a bunch of other visual design things that I probably shouldn't have been working on, and instead focusing on the layout. Other layout issues that we've had, well, not layout issues, but other issues that this map has had that have been fixed is that the overtime mechanic was broken for a little bit, but I was finally able to figure out how to get that to work. There was a problem there where I reinitiated normal CTF overtime, which originally I didn't have. I put it back in so that when the clock reaches 0 and somebody has the flag, the round doesn't end and go into my custom stalemate overtime mechanic if the score is tied. Instead, the normal CTF overtime mechanic is that the overtime goes until the flag is returned to base by the flag carrier dropping it, either dying or just dropping it, and the timer on the flag going down to 0 and it being returned. So, well, it's kind of annoying about that. I mean, because I put a timer in the map, so you have 7 minutes for the normal round, and then the map checks to see if the scores are tied or if somebody has more points than the other person, and whoever has more points wins. With the scores tied, it goes into my custom not really sudden death, but a custom overtime mechanic where the flags move from back there to up here, and everybody respawns, and then the next capture wins, which is how you break the tie, and you get 2 minutes to do so. And if after that 2 minutes, then everybody's done, that's it, stalemate, next round. The problem I was having was that when the clock was 0:00 and somebody had the flag and it was not the custom overtime, once they delivered that flag, I had it so that you would add 170 seconds to the timer. So if the timer runs out, somebody has the flag, somebody caps the flag, then they have a little bit more time to try to go cap the flag again. So if one team has 2, and the other team has 0, and then the team with, like, if red team has 2 points, blue team has 0 points. The timer reaches 0:00. Blue team caps in normal CTF overtime, they then get a little bit more time to try to cap again to either have the round finish with a tie so that they can go into the tiebreaker round, or to try to get 2 more caps and win. Of course, red gets more time as well to try to get a cap and win with 3, but that's the idea. The problem I was having is that for some reason the timing was getting all mixed up, and it would cause one team to win when it was supposed to go into the tiebreaker round. But it was a pain to try to figure all that nonsense out. But I finally figured it out by putting a delay on it. So if the timer is 0.00 seconds and somebody captures the flag, then let's see, how did this work? Yes, the timer is 0.00 seconds and it's normal CTF overtime. That overtime ends when somebody captures the flag or the flag gets returned. When normal CTF overtime ends, the map then checks what the time is. If the time is 0.00, it does a on-finished output for the round timer, but the round timer is on a 0.01 delay, which means that it doesn't check automatically or like right that second what the time is. And when you capture the flag, time gets added to the clock. So with that delay, time gets added to the clock before the round ends. So the map doesn't check to see if somebody wins when they're not supposed to, because the round's not supposed to be over yet until the timer reaches 0.00. And am I explaining? I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but it was really confusing to get it to work. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, putting a delay on the on-finish command for the timer causes it to cancel out the on-finish command, because the timer's not completely at 0 when the on-finish command actually goes through to figure out what's going on. So, that was a pain to figure out. Anyway, that's it. That's CTF Kelly A7. I also changed the sign to say Ned Kelly Plaza instead of Kelly Plaza, considering that when people heard Kelly, someone actually told me they were thinking of Kelly's Heroes, which I didn't think anybody knew what that movie was anymore. But I thought, okay, well, we'll make it Ned Kelly Plaza. That way it fits into Ned Kelly, the Australian outlaw, which fits with Australia, makes people think, oh, I'm set in Australia, before I start adding in any of the visual stuff for Australia and what that kind of stuff, or TF2 Australia, I don't know. I kind of broke my brain trying to explain all that complicated nonsense to you. Anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any feedback for me, feel free to leave it in as a comment below on this video on YouTube, or you can leave a forum post over on tf2maps.net. The link to that will be in the description. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think the map's good or bad, if you have any ideas for it or anything like that. I'm Megapieman, and I'm going to stop talking.